Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode on Carpe Diem Living the Podcast. I am your host, Shane Gitmid, and we have someone that, for the first time, I've never spoken to someone who focuses on sex education. So this is going to be quite an interesting episode. Her name is Miss Shani, and she is here to tell us about her journey and how she got started with her business. So without further ado, Shani, tell us about you and how you got into this.
Well, it all started, my husband actually started the business. It started off, he had a store, and when we were dating, I would pop up at his business. You know, I know pop-ups are frowned upon, but I would pop up because a lot of the customers are women, and I would, wanted to see what was going on. Yeah. So I would pop up, and eventually he started putting me to work, doing little things in the store, ringing people up and stuff like that. And I started getting so many questions, and I didn't know the answer. Like, I knew how to answer from my perspective, but really to give someone an educational answer, I didn't have the ability to do that. So I went to a sex educational program. I went to Portland. I flew all the way across the country, and I did this sex education program that I loved. And I felt comfortable enough at this point to educate people about their sexuality. So I started doing workshops and events at my store. And then eventually I wanted to be a sex coach. So I enrolled in another program so I get that sort of training. And I'm also a certified sex coach. My focus is couples that have had fertility issues and helping them get back onto the path of passion after trying to conceive. And I started my own company, the Noir Leaf, a CBD company, because all of a sudden CBD lube got really, really popular in the sex industry, and customers started asking for it, and I started using it, and I was like, this is pretty awesome. So then I started researching all the other ways that CBD could help me in my life, and I had anxiety issues, and I had other issues like with menstrual cramps and stuff like that, and it turned out that CBD was awesome for all those things. So then I had issues finding quality products. One thing about CBD, like, there's so much stuff on the market. You don't know quality-wise where it's coming from, if it's, organically grown, if it's been lab tested, all these different things. And so I started having trouble figuring out what was a good product. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna start my own company so I could actually know that my products are quality and offer them. I'm in an African-American community, and when I would talk to people in my community, no one knew about CBD. Everyone knows about weed and THC, but they're like, isn't it illegal? What's going on? I'm like, no. It's legal here. I'm going into the whole spiel about CBD, but I was like, you know what? I really need to start educating Black people about CBD, how it can help them. And so that's how my company, the Noir Leaf, was started. And that's like my main passion right now. And I still talk about sex because now I own CBD lube line myself that I really enjoy. So I can't put sex all the way on the back burner. I still have to incorporate that.
Wow. And you know what? It's so funny. So with CBD, it's the thing that I hear about CBD from other people that don't understand. They just think, weed, THC. They're like, is it like decaf weed? And I'm like, what? Like, what? Like, is that really your thought on what that is? Like,
I have never heard that saying. That's funny, but that's like, I think that's what people think. Like, it's weed with none of the things that people think are good. So of course it's CBD doesn't give you a high. CBD provides more of the body functions that help you maintain like a homeostasis in your body, whether it's anxiety issues, digestion issues, appetite, sleep, immune functions, pain, inflammation. It regulates so many different things and helps relieve so many different ailments with people. And it's plant-based. And I think what took so long, because the Farm Bill just passed in 2018 that made it legal to grow hemp in the U.S. And it took so long because I think, Big Pharma in the government, they really don't want you to have your hands on the things that are going to get you off of all these prescription drugs and all these chemicals. And, I don't want to get into a whole big conspiracy theory, but it seems like a lot of the things we take are meant to keep us sick. Like you take this prescription drug, but then it might cause this. So then you need something else to fight this. Where since I've been taking CBD products almost 2 years, but now I take my CBD every morning. I have different things to carry with me during the day if I feel my anxiety raising, and it just puts me in better spirits. So, I'm able to be a better friend, a better wife. I'm able to be a better employer, where before I might have had to rely on other things. I'm like, it's got to be something better than this.
Right. And, it's so true. And it's definitely, to me, it's not a conspiracy. It's so true. Like Big Pharma doesn't want us to essentially heal because that they'll lose money. It's about the money. And so that's why it's interesting. Like the more information that's getting out about the benefits of CBD, the more they're trying. I don't know if you've noticed, but if you look up CBD, there's actually articles that write against it, that try to prove that it's actually not good for you. And I'm like, see, that's the problem, is that most people, of course, research to find out information, but if the wrong information is out there, what are they going to believe?
Yeah, and it's when I took and when I was in college, it was one class I took that was on research, and that was one of the things. For instance, I did one of my papers on urinary tract infections, and it was this big article about drinking cranberry juice is so good and all these different things. But when you actually sit down and research and figure out, like, okay, who's this writer? Who do they work for? It turned out like further down the line, it was written and paid for by somebody that worked for Ocean Spray. So a lot of the information that we read, a lot of these pieces that we read on, a lot of people get their news and information from social media. Right. But we don't do the research to figure out what is the motive behind
what is the source?
Yes. What is the source? Like, why are they writing it this way? It's everyone has a motive behind everything they write. And it's like, is it for something that aligns in what you believe in? Yeah. I gotta read this. This must be true. And you might share it. And then you come to find out that the article didn't even, correspond with it. It meant nothing. And whoever wrote it, the title just did that for you to click on it. It's that's a whole nother podcast about how we get our information.
No, I love that you highlighted that, because that's another thing. Is like, I feel like especially when it's pertaining to things you're putting in your body, the biggest thing you can do is make sure you have all the information, about the source, and like just how, like with you, that's why you started your own CBD products, because you wanted to make sure the quality was right. You want to make sure that it's not, having all these harmful chemicals and things that are being put in there. Because nowadays it's scary to think, but we really can't trust the products that are on the market anymore. You have to really dig to find the truth. And especially like when it comes to food, just anything, now it's like, it's so important to do your due diligence and to figure out, is this really safe for me, my body, my family? Yeah. Like, it's huge. So I love that you brought that up I thought that was so crazy how you said the writer was someone that worked for Ocean Spray. Like,
yes. And so of course they want you to drink lots of cranberry juice.
Right. Yeah. And I remember for me, so I've had, I think 2 UTIs in my whole life. And the first time I had it, that's what I did. I researched, how do you, solve a UTI? And cranberry juice came up on there. So that's why I was like, oh my God, I probably was one of those that just followed what the online article said, and it did nothing. It didn't even help me at all. Yeah. This was like back in like 2012. So even more so, holistic anything was like non-existent. Like, it was like this goal for me. When I found out about anything holistic, I was like, wow, this is like the holy grail. Like, I literally had to dig for this information. So, but yeah, with CBD, oh my gosh, I thought it was so interesting how it started off with one thing and it kind of led you down a rabbit hole of like now having your own products. And like, okay, we got to talk about this CBD lube. So yes. So obviously we know what lube is, but so when you incorporate the CBD, what does that, I guess from your perspective, because you've obviously used it, what does it feel like? Like, how different is it from just regular lube?
So the CBD lube and regular lube, they're still going to give you, the main point of lube, whereas to make things, slide and glide and be more pleasurable. But just like you take CBD for, lots of people take it for different reasons. They take it a lot of times for anxiety issues, take a lot of times for pain issues, take it for health conditions they have that are affected by blood flow. So CBD helps all of those things. So it just makes sense for it to be used with sex, because let's say for the anxiety piece, there's a lot of people that have anxiety before they have sex, whether it be from, past sexual trauma, maybe body image issues, or even, just like I have my wine here. So a lot of people have drinks. They drink wine, women, might have a glass of wine, to make us feel a little sexy, maybe knock the anxiety and knock the nervousness away. And I mean, do you really want to be having sex drunk? I mean, I've had a couple of good drinks with sex, but I mean, you really want to be able to feel all the pleasure.
Right.
So taking a CBD lube, with the CBD lube, you're going to rub it all on your parts. It works better on women's vulvas than it does on a man's penis, because the skin on the penis is really thick. It doesn't work as well. So you rub it on. It takes about between 10 and 30 minutes, depending on the person, for it to be absorbed and get in your bloodstream and start working. But of course, in the meantime, you could be doing some other things while you wait for the main attraction. And so it's going to help with the anxiety before sex. Then pain-wise, there's a lot of women that have painful sex, whether it be from endometriosis, fibroids, other pelvic pain issues. And if you can use that lube, it soak in and get to those parts that are inflamed, then it's going to help with that. And you can have, a less painful or pain-free pleasure session. Right. So that's anxiety, pain, blood flow. One of my favorite parts about it. With our genitals, the more blood flow that goes to these parts, the more pleasurable everything's going to feel, the more sensitive it's going to be. So if there's more blood pumping to our, our vulvas, our clitoris, all these different parts, then the sensations during sex are going to be more pleasurable. We might have, bigger and better orgasms. Who doesn't want that? I'll take a bigger orgasm. So those are the things that make CBD lube so awesome. And someone asked me about CBD lube and anal sex. I was like, oh my goodness. I never even thought about using it for anal sex, because that's probably the type of sex that have people super nervous, and for that to be pleasurable, of course you have to be relaxed, and that I have to try it. I told my husband I was going to try it last night. I was like, okay, you want to have anal sex? And we tried the lube out there. He was like, yeah. I fell asleep. So that didn't happen, but I still had to try it for myself. I did. Only people that had been talking about anal sex and lube were my customers that were gay guys that bottom. So they want some CBD lube up in there for them. Right. Yeah, they might be under low pressure. So, but I never thought about it for me having anal sex. I don't do that often. Christmas, birthdays, holidays. So I said I'm going to try it. So I have to report back to your listeners how that worked out.
Yeah, please share an update, because this is all. So I'm very extroverted and I love talking to people, but for some reason when it comes to this subject, it makes me so shy. I'm just kind of I'm very modest when it comes to that stuff. So the fact that we're talking about this live, this is just me ripping the Band-Aid off. Okay, this is part of holistic life too, because it's natural, right? How are babies made? So I'm so glad that we're having this conversation, because otherwise I don't know if I ever would publish this, if I talk to just myself talking about it. But I just, oh my gosh, I just love how just within your guys' businesses, you're helping it feel more normalized, right? You're getting rid of that stigma that oh my gosh, you can't talk about sex online. Of course you can. Of course, this is all. Yeah, and it's making people like me who are typically really shy about it feel more comfortable. And
yeah, that's how it is. That the more that everyone talks about it, the more that it's going to be normal for us just to have a conversation. We're sitting around. I think about a holistic life. Like pleasure is definitely in there. Like
right.
I don't think you can have a holistic life without pleasure. That's something that keeps you going from day to day. It might not even be just sexual pleasure, but just pleasure in general. Like, you know, I like after hard days sometimes having, you know, a small bowl of mint chocolate chip ice cream. That brings me pleasure. Or, you know, reading a new book. That might bring me pleasure. Just incorporating more things in your daily life that'll bring me pleasure. Like that has to be included in a holistic life.
Right, right. And oh my gosh, I'm loving this conversation because I'm feeling like I'm getting really educated in this. And I mean, for me, I'm a big fan of CBD. I started using CBD like 2018, early 2018, and it helped me with anxiety. That was why. So for me, my turning point with it was I was having really bad anxiety as a new mom. So I became a mom in 2017. And so my son was not even 6 months old. And I'm like, look, like something's got to give. Like I already had anxiety prior, so it kind of amplified how I felt. And at this point, I've never taken, you know, any medication. I've never taken anything, right? Mm-hmm. So my doctor was like, it's either like when I went to my doctor, they're kind of like, okay, we're going to prescribe you an antidepressant to help with your anxiety. And
exactly.
Instantly, I was like, I don't want to do that. Like I was so scared because especially the way they explained it to me, they were like, when you take this, you can't just stop taking it. Like you have to stay on it because the effects it's going to have. So that of course alarmed me. I was like, I don't want to change.
Yes.
Who I am.
And when they talk about affecting I told them, they asked me, you know, they already knew what I did for a living. I was like, well, you know, they told me it might affect your libido. I was like, oh, I don't want that.
Yeah. I've heard that. I've known of, you know, people that have taken it and they're not even interested in that. So what is that going to do to your relationship? It's only going to cause more harm than good. And of course with antidepressants, so obviously it's going to affect like the chemicals in your brain. And I was so nervous of like, I don't know what the long-term effects of this is going to be. I don't want to change who I am. I just need to figure out a way to adjust my anxiety. So that's when CBD came in. And I remember walking to looking up a dispensary, and it was a big deal for me because I grew up very like, you know, I've never smoked weed. I really didn't drink very much. Like I just didn't have much experience. So It was actually a very big deal for me to like look up a dispensary, go in there and just say, I started off with 0 THC. I was like, nope, I'm not trying to get high. This is all medicinal. I promise you. Like, it almost felt like I was doing something bad, but it's been legalized for a while now, and especially in California. So I started off with just CBD. There was capsules. So there were CBD capsules. They had CBD chocolate. And then I dabbled with CBD oil. And out of all of those, I really like the oil because I feel like it hits your bloodstream a lot faster.
That's what I take every morning.
Yeah, same. And so that's how it started for me with CBD. And then from there, as I got more comfortable, I was like, okay, I'll try THC. Okay, you know, I'll take an edible here and there. And it helped with my insomnia. That was another major.
Oh, yeah. Because a lot of people think that, like, we think we have insomnia. It's really not even insomnia. It's still anxiety.
Right.
Because we can't turn our brains off. It won't let us sleep. And it's like, I'm an insomniac. No, you're just an anxious person.
Yeah. And then once you take CBD, it's like, oh my gosh, all is well in the world. So yeah, so that honestly, I get what you mean. When you take CBD, you're just a better partner, you're a better employer. And that's how I feel too. I'm a better mom. I'm a better dog mom. Like it's affected me in so many positive ways. And so I can't even rave about it enough.
I love it. The main things I take it for my anxiety, I take, I don't take a high dosage. I use just a 500 milligram tincture, and I take 1 dropper full, and that works for me. And then I carry my CBD gummies with me during the day, just in case, you know, I get to the moment that I'm about to knock somebody in their face. I'm like, okay, let me pop a gummy.
Yeah, you're just like, all right, let me get my woosah.
And I mean, because especially now, I never used to have to take the gummies during the day before COVID. Before this pandemic, you know, I think there's a lot more anxious people now than it ever was before. Everybody is is anxious and has anxiety. So I never used to have to carry my gummies around with me during the day before, but now it's just like, ugh. So I carry my gummies. Yeah. And then sometimes I take a nighttime gummy that I have that has added melatonin in it. And once I take that, put my bonnet on, lay down in the bed, it's night-night.
And you're good. Oh my gosh.
And then I also take it, the two main things I take for, like I said, anxiety, sleep, and my menstrual cramps. The older I got, my cramps got so much worse. Oh. And the more I researched about CBD, I saw that a lot of people were having great reports of it helping them when they're in their menstrual cycle. So when I'm on my menstrual cycle, I do double up on my oil. I also use a topical on my abdomen so it can soak in and get right in there on my uterus and go to work. And then I also love CBD bath bombs because soaking in the water, that helps relax you and helps relax your uterus and all the different things. So those are the three things I do when I'm on my cycles. What I did without it beforehand. I know I popped a lot of Tylenol and Advil and stuff like that.
Motrin.
You know, and the NSAIDs, those aren't good for you.
Right.
You know,
Midol was huge.
Midol, all that stuff is not good for you. And I was taking so many of them. It's just, I'm just so happy that I found it.
Right. And I always say this, it's better late than never, you know, like, and you can heal. Sorry about that. So you can heal from it. So that's why it's great that you're able to find those solutions. Cause I used to take Midol all the time. I used to, and this was mainly when I was in high school. Cause I feel like as I got older, I didn't need Midol as much, but I remember just having insane cramps, bad headaches. And it was just my trio was Motrin, Midol, and a Tylenol. And you know, that wreaks havoc on your liver. So, I mean, I've been doing that for a while now because of that.
It gets, those NSAIDs get a lot of different people ulcers. It's just terrible. Like I would call out of work some days and just be in the bed in the fetal position. And I'd call out to my husband, come rub my stomach. Right. he would be over it. But now, when now I'm still kind of like a baby. I'm an attention whore. So I'm like, hey, can you come rub the CBD on my stomach? So he comes and I have these roll-on gels. So he comes and rolls it on my abdomen. I still just need that touch. You know, a little attention.
So your love language is touch, I'm assuming.
My love language is actually gifts.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
It's actually gifts. And his is touch. It's so funny because a lot of people who have the love language touch, they're like freaking out. You shook somebody's hand and no one's touching each other anymore. So the people who have the love language of touch, you know, they need a little bit of added attention.
Right. Oh my gosh. I can only imagine. And like with CBD, so let's talk about your CBD line. So what kind of CBD products do you have other than what you've already mentioned?
I carry oils, gummies. I'm real excited about. Have you heard of the Delta 8 THC?
I feel like I have. I don't know too much about it.
It's been a lot of brouhaha. Like it's been a lot of brouhaha, but kind of like whisper brouhaha. Okay. So it is a form of THC that is, it's, you know, through a loophole is still legal. People, the farmers and the manufacturers have been able to extract it in small amounts from the hemp that is legal to grow. So if you take a Delta 8 THC product, it still will give you a little high. So now when people say, you know, CBD, I can't buy any CBD products that, you know, because I want to get high. If you see something now that says Delta 8, and it's usually a triangle and an 8, that means that as it is right now, I'm sure the government's going to shut it down eventually and make it illegal. But as it stands right now, it is legal THC products that you can buy anywhere. Wow. So I just, I tried a couple and I was like, this is not going to work. And I was sitting there on my couch and I was like, yeah, I think I'm high.
Yeah, when the realization hits you, you're just, for me, so when because I really don't smoke much or anything like that, but
wait, I like how you said I don't smoke much.
I'm still kind of like trying to water it down. I swear though, it's really not very often, but I have tried it. But when I know when the realization hits me, it's when I feel like I can't move. Like for me, it's like I think it's because it's the indica strain or something, but you know, it's in the couch, what they call it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that will really get me. Like, I'm just like, I feel like I feel like a boulder right now. That's how I describe it. But yeah, I love that you have a variety of CBD products because I love trying like all different kinds.
Yeah, so I have, so those are the gummies. What is it? Oils, gummies, topicals, different sorts of rubs for pain. When I take my bath, I also sell CBD bath bombs. So when I take my bath bomb, if I want to keep up with that, you know, the CBD feeling and rub it all over my body, it feels really good. A lot of people use it more. My customers use it more for eczema and psoriasis because all that's still inflammation. And
Right.
when you rub it on your skin, CBD helps with that. It helps with everything.
Right. It's a miracle, freaking.
It's a miracle. So I sell the topicals for pain, lotion, bath bombs, and lube.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I love how you mentioned with CBD, how you have the gummies, because what people don't understand is you can't overdose on CBD.
No.
Like that, like when some people say, well, oh my gosh, am I going to get super high? And I'm like, what's the limit? I'm like, there's literally no limit. And that scares a lot of people. They're like, how is that even possible? But I'm like, I promise you, like you can't ever have too much of it, which is a nice thing. And I need to take that trick from you because sometimes I'll take my oil and I'm thinking I'm good. And then things will pop off during my day. And I'm like, oh, like,
yeah, you got to carry your gummies with you. Or if you still have any of the capsules that you used to have,
yeah.
You know, pop one of those. But it's just, I like to have it for emergencies. Lately, I haven't had to use my emergency stash in a while. I've been good. But I'm just really happy that I found it. I love that all of my products are sourced from either Colorado or Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are third-party lab tested. So like I like for people to go on my website, and when they click on a product, at the bottom it says, click here to view third-party testing. So if you click it, you can see the COA, the certificate of analysis, to show that there wasn't any extra chemicals. And like if I say this bottle has 500 milligrams on it, the lab sheet says, hey, there was usually it's a little more than 500. Usually the manufacturers make sure it's topped off a little more so they don't fail the test. Testing. It's better to be safe than sorry. But you can, I want to make sure that people know they're getting quality products, because I don't want to be, my name ran through the mud in these streets. The cancer culture these days is real. I need my name to I need my name
want to be part of that.
No, I don't want to be part of that. And plus, I want to make sure the things that I'm putting in my body are excellent products.
Right. Like you stand by it 200%. And I think that's what we need. We need more small businesses to thrive. And that way we're not following all these big corporations that don't have our best interest at heart. Like they're losing so much credibility. And it's really sad because these are companies we've known of for decades. And as a consumer, it can be very disappointing when you're like, oh, this is plant-based, this is great for you. And then you're like, oh crap, now there's like a lawsuit coming out because actually there was this, and this, and it's too late. You already consumed it. Like
on the radio every single day. I don't know if it's like that in California. It's a commercial. You know how the lawyers, they put out the commercial. Have you ever this and that?
Yes.
Right now, every single day, it's Johnson & Johnson's talcum powder. Have you ever taken talcum powder? Every single day I hear these commercials. But think about how many years that people, use powder on our bodies and for hygiene issues or whatever the case may be. And now it's like, that was cancer. It's crazy.
My gosh. And especially like with me, like I have a young son. So like I'm constantly making sure like whatever I bring, to bring home or expose him to, it's not going to cause something crazy down the line. One of the products that I'm really interested in trying, which I'm definitely going to be ordering some stuff from your site, by the way. I'm so excited to try, especially the bath bomb. I've heard a lot about it, but I've never actually done it.
But have you taken a regular bath bomb?
No, honestly, I've not.
You've never used a regular bath bomb? Oh my goodness. Like you have to, it's such a treat. First of all, just watching it fizz and swim around the tub. It's like,
Yeah, it's fun to watch. Yeah.
It's fun to watch. And as the bath bomb is fizzing and melting and everything like that, you know, the CBD is getting to the water. I'm sure do you use essential oils?
Yes, I do.
Yes. So you know that a lot of people love essential oils for aromatherapy. So the different bath bombs have different essential oils. So you're getting the CBD soaking in through your body. You're getting the aromatherapy from the CBD. Also, you know, it's good soaking in hot water. Yeah. So I usually, you know, I make a whole evening. I turn the lights down. Yeah. I have my glass of wine. I have, you know, my music playing in the background. And that's like part of my self-care. I really like that as a part of my self-care.
Yeah. No, that sounds like a straight up like spa day at home. Like don't go anywhere else. You have everything you need at home and you make them. So it's even better.
Yes. And I actually have a lot of men that buy the bath bombs for when, like if they work out at the gym a lot and they just want to come home and get in it so their muscles won't be real tense and, you know, or have some pain relief from lifting heavy weights. They watch a couple of my videos or heard me talk about CBD somewhere. They're like, I think that could work for me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. See, men, all you men out there, there's no stigma with wanting to have a nice bath bomb at home. Okay. Like go ahead and pour it because we could all use that relaxation.
Yes. The only problem is if they're like, you know, 6'4", 6'5", being in a little ass bathtub.
Their legs are sticking out. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And like, I was just thinking like, cause I know how you make topical creams. So one time I made this mistake where I was having like arthritis type pain in my arm and I go to the dispensary and they're like, oh yeah, this cream will help. I didn't realize the ratio of THC that was in there. So I remember putting the THC cream, not realizing how powerful it was. I knocked out. And
oh my goodness.
I woke up and I was like, oh my God, I never nap. I never do that. But it's like, that's how powerful it was. And I was like, okay, never again. This cream is too much. So I got to try just CBD topical cream and not the other kind.
Yeah. It's fun. A lot of my friends that are heavy weed smokers or vape THC or take gummies or something like that. Sometimes they'll take the CBD with the THC because in Maryland it's not legal. We have dispensaries, but you have to have a card and it's a whole bunch of rigmarole. But it's kind of easy to find weed products around here, even though they're not legal. So even though they can't go into a dispensary and get, you know, a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1 product, they can still put it together individually because a lot of people like taking the CBD with the THC because, you know, it limits the paranoia a little bit. Right. Sometimes it gives people a more balanced high. So I have people that incorporate it that way also.
Got it. Yeah, I feel like I love that how each of your products is like for a different type of use. There's relaxation, there's like relief, and that's amazing having that variety. I feel like in the future, are you going to come out with like a CBD face wash or like a CBD?
So the CBD skincare stuff is like all the craze. I actually bought a CBD face soap because since wearing the mask all the time, like all of my cheeks are breaking out from wearing the mask and sweating. And, you know, I might not wash my mask every day like you're supposed to. So, you know, we're putting dirty masks back on our face. So I did buy that because CBD helps with acne and skin conditions. And so far it's been working good. But a few of my friends asked me, like, when are you going to start adding skincare stuff to your line? So I've been thinking about it. It just takes so long sourcing new products. It's like it takes a long time because you have to try all these different things and there's so many, you know, cost analysis and right now I'm kind of lazy.
You're just trying to chill, you know, just enjoy the fruits of your labor right now, which I don't blame you. You sound like you have a lot going on, but in the best way. And I just think it's amazing what you're doing. I love that you're incorporating, you know, healthy things about sex education, and CBD that helps across the board. So that's wonderful. If you ever come out with the skincare line, hit me up because I will definitely get guinea pig. Okay, like I love trying CBD products, and I'm definitely going to shop your site. But gosh, this has just been so incredible. Tell our listeners where they can find you online, where they can shop your company and your products.
Sure. For all things CBD, I am on, my website is the Noir Leaf, THENOIRLEAF.com. On Instagram, I'm the same thing, at Noir Leaf, at the Noir Leaf. And if you want to look at any, pleasure products, that's, you're feeling a little sexy. My website for that is Heart's Desires, HARTSDESIRES. And you can find me on Instagram under my pleasure brand at Sex Stuff with Shani.
Oh my gosh. See, I'm just loving this, and I feel even more educated right now on like what I could do in other aspects. So I'm a huge fan of yours. Thank you so much for breaking that stigma, and I love it. So everyone who's listening, Shani will be in our podcast insiders group. So if you ever want to connect with her directly, if you have any questions, you know where to find her. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Bye-bye, guys.